Tuesday morning, you're with Mansfield Today. Nice to have you with us. And on Tuesdays, we look at all things legal. We're joined in the Mansfield Today studio by our resident legal eagle, Advocate Lance Brogden. Lance, nice to see you again, my bud.
Hey, Jim, good to be with you, mate.
Yeah, good one. Lance, what is this whole thing about Latin? Do we still use Latin anymore in this modern era of law?
Absolutely, Jeremy, and I think it's a good topic to touch on. Latin, the language it used to be, it killed the Romans, now it's killing me, and I think a lot of people out there feel that way. You have a document in front of you, you have pleadings, and there's Latin terminology in it. Unfortunately, it is still there. The history, obviously, the Roman Dutch law, the Romans covered most of the world, and with that they brought their law and their language, and a lot of the Latin phrases are still used. I think if it was up to me in time, we should move to the language of the country that's being used, but it's everywhere in the world. Latin is used in terminology in law.
I studied Latin myself. Did you study it at varsity? Did you have to when you were there?
Yep. The days that we studied law in the 80s, we had to do Latin. A basic Latin course was probably equivalent to a matric Latin. Fortunately, Jeremy, it's no longer the case. The way I believe it happens now is a student studying law learns the appropriate Latin phrases, which I'm very supportive of. To go through hearing about various Latin stories and Roman issues and the wars and the battles, it doesn't help law per se. So nowadays, they learn the appropriate Latin phrases.
A mo, a mus, a mut, a marmus, a ma...
A martus, a match.
Martus, a match.
There we go.
The only thing I remember. The only thing that Latin helped me with was interpreting all of the soldiers' names in every Asterix magazine that I read, because they were all the Roman soldiers.
Yeah, well, there was a successful outing. Asterix and Obelix and the team.
What are there a few important legal phrases that we should actually understand clearly?
Yes, and I think more or less, I'll just touch on a few. It's not exhaustive whatsoever, but the important thing I want to touch on is it's not just a case of translating it from the Latin phrase that you would see in a document or a summons, but understanding the implications thereof. So I'll touch on a few that you've probably heard of. So, for example, caveat subscriptor and caveat emptor. They're very, very important. What it means is, subscriptor is beware the one who signs. Beware the one who signs. Mm-hmm. Caveat emptor, very important. Emptor being the purchaser. If you're the purchaser, beware. You should make sure that you are covered with the quality of what you are procuring, as well as the suitability thereof. Beware. You all heard of bona fides.
Yeah.
But there's one called uberrime bona fides. This means the ultimate, extreme good faith. Bona fides being good faith. It's very common particularly insurance, that everybody acts in the good faith from the beginning throughout. Another one or two that you hear and is used quite freely, one is compos mentis.
Yes.
Being pretty much doesn't apply to you, Jeremy, but be pretty much of a sort of a sound mind. But very... But together with that, is a statement called lucidum intervallum. Now, what that means is you might not be generally compos mentis, but there are a moment in time, and we can prove that you did have a moment of sanity and clarity. What you do in that time is very important. Changing your will. Like when Jeremy left those very special goods to me. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it wasn't a lucidum intervallum, and it was thrown out because he was still non-compos mentis. And there are many more. Prior in tempore, prior in jure means if there's an action, if two parties, separate parties not related, are going for a certain pool of money or assets, remember, first in time, first in law. And there are many variations, but these are what these things mean.
There must be some legal Latin phrases, though, Lance, that are misunderstood.
Yeah.
Or misinterpreted.
I think, Jeremy, taking all the jocular side out, this one is very important. You see in any contract you write, domicilium citandi et executandi, which means, very important, people think it just means your address where you are. it has a much wider meaning. What it really means is that is the address that you're giving to the other party, where any legal notice or paper can be served on you. So once again, caveat, beware. If you've filled in that address and you change your address, it's up to you to go and ensure that the other party gets your new address, or summons can be served on you. You're not there, but you gave that address as that, and that is the one, and a judgment can be taken against you, a process can be followed. Please remember, look carefully at the small print. You have to check that address, and if you change it, change it. Another one we often is usufructus. So once again, we all pretty much know that it means a right of use, but people got to understand the implications. For example, when my dad passed away, he left his estate to my brother and I. Mm-hmm. However, he left a usufruct for my mother. So as long as she is alive, she has full use of the estate. However, where it goes wrong on occasion, it's quite important, is people think that because the one party has the use during their lifetime, that they can do stuff with it. They can sell the property and do all that. No, it means a use. One or two more, not to overdo it, but often you will see that a judge makes a decision and it comes out saying the obiter dictum, and that means basically another opinion. So you could have a three bench sitting, so three judges. Two say the answer is A, other one says it's B. Mm-hmm. Now, often people say, okay, well, that's not that important. It is. It is important, although A will succeed, B can later be used as a reference in further cases and precedent, and sometimes A could be turned over. Okay. One more, sine die. What it means is without a date set. So it happens in a couple of cases, the judge or the magistrate will put out their decision or put something out to, let's say, sine die, without a fixed date. Once again, people misinterpret. It means, okay, nothing's going to happen. That date will come. Be aware, Jeremy, that date will come.
A friend of mine, where did I write it down now? There we go. A friend of mine, Chucky Jones. I told him this is what we were talking about today, about Latin, the use of Latin in the modern era of law. And he said, ask Lance what the following legal Latin phrase means. Alius putius ille obsicro. Alius putius ille obsicro.
Okay, Jeremy, well, I've never seen that in a motion paper, in a summons. I've actually never heard it used in court either.
You've heard it plenty of times, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, because what it actually means is another beer, please.
Yes, exactly.
Chucky, I owe you one. You nearly had me there.
There must have been cases or examples in court where you have people not speaking their home language, and a statement comes out very wrong.
Yep, a certain province in our wonderful country of South Africa, there was one particular man practicing law, and a very, very competent man. And there are two issues recorded about him making statements, meaning something else. The one is in the matter, there was a lot of accusation against his client, and he looked up and he said, my lord, I want to tell you that runs off my back like a duck's water. so yeah, but a better one, and please don't be sensitive. The same man was in a matter, and they were discussing a certain persona and very influenced, and there was a lot of issues about who's influencing who, and he wanted to say, yes, my lord, but this man has a finger in every pie in town. But he came out saying, sorry, my lord, this man has a finger in every tart in town. So once again, you've got to play very carefully with words and terminology.
So what do we take out of all of this?
Okay, I think very importantly, the Latin phraseology is with us and will be with us for a long time. I put it to you, my lord, I put it to you,
yes,
that please, if you're doing an agreement or a contract or and you're not sure what it means, don't only go and get the translation, which you can off the internet, rather find out the implications of you working with it or not with it. It's very important, and ask, when your lawyer might take it for granted, or your counsel, that you know exactly what this means and the implications. Please don't make that assumption. It's too important. It could be your assets, your family, your life. Unfortunately, we're stuck with it. Let's use it.
Lance Brogden, advocate, thank you very much for joining us once again on Mansfield Today. If you have any questions that you'd like to put to Lance or any suggestions that you have, legal@mansfieldtoday.com, or you can also send them to info@mansfieldtoday.com. We'll be joined tomorrow by Dr. Vicky Skitter, and we will be talking about the medical aspects of life. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you tomorrow once again. Bye-bye.
Sometimes there's so much you can show me. Move on to my side, I wait to see you.